The Grammy Awards, they are this weekend. I'm wondering who the favorites are. Who should I ask? I don't know. How about John Jurgensen? He's slipping behind Rachel right now and slipping into the chair right beside me.
Hello.
And you're already in something comfortable. You don't have to slip into that.
Of course.
Grammys are when and
On
what
Sunday.
time? Sunday?
Yep, Sunday night.
Okay. Favorites?
Well, I mean, you can expect Adele to pretty much sweep the big top awards. I mean, she sold something like 7 million records this year, and some might say single-handedly kept the music business afloat. So why wouldn't the industry award her and shower her with awards for what she's done for them?
And her voice, how's her voice now?
And that's the other thing. It's going to be the first big kind of re-entrance to the public eye for her. I mean, she's been out for several months due to vocal cord surgery, so everyone's been waiting to see what she's going to sound like and how she's going to perform that night. It's amazing that she's just been this huge juggernaut and been completely absent from the scene for the last few months. The record just keeps rolling and rolling.
And yet the buzz is still there. All right, J. Cole, another one. Tell us about J. Cole.
He's a rapper in the Best New Artist category, and I think a lot of people, the Best New Artist category is a strange wild card thing, and I think people love to point to it as the thing that's wrong with the Grammys, depending on who wins. Milli Vanilli, a famous winner of the Best New Artist category. But it's also a gauge of how people are merging into the limelight. J. Cole is a Jay-Z prodigy. He's a rapper, a college-educated rapper, it should be told. And he had a big debut with a #1 album and has made his mark that way. I'd say a lot of people probably aren't that familiar with him.
Right.
Among the other categories, for sure.
What about, am I saying this right, this Wisconsin indie rock singer, is it Bon Iver?
Bon Iver, yeah. And here's another interesting one. I mean, he's been on the scene and well known as an indie rock singer and songwriter for at least 4 years, and has put out a previous album, so hard to argue that he's a best new artist.
Is that him? We're looking at him right now?
Yep, that's him. Justin Vernon is his name.
And he collaborated with Kanye West?
Yeah, he's had a really interesting arc that he has written this very hushed, melancholy stuff that he's written in a cabin in Wisconsin, and yet he's one of the big voices on Kanye West's recent record. So he's got this kind of mix of two worlds that he's got going on, and he's nominated in several other categories too. So he could be an interesting person to watch at the Grammys.
And who is the DJ who's nominated?
Skrillex. Dubstep is this kind of movement in electronic music, and it's been a huge force in music. And I think the Grammys are trying to recognize that DJs and electronic music has come on very, very strong in the last few years, and they're trying to integrate them into the performance and the awards ceremony. So his inclusion in this category is definitely an acknowledgement of how that genre has really come on strong.
Rap seems to be pretty prevalent now. Nicki, is it Minaj?
Yeah, Nicki Minaj, yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about someone who's had the biggest year of these 4 or these 5 nominees, she's the one. I mean, if you hadn't noticed her as a space age Barbie on any number of awards shows, you might have saw her at the Super Bowl last weekend doing her thing with Madonna as kind of a side woman to Madonna. So she's had a really big year and is quite popular.
And one other worth noting, the band Perry.
The band Perry, a country group made up of 3 siblings, had a really big song, but that song was nominated last year. So it's interesting that this Best New Artist category is kind of a hard thing to predict because they were nominated last year, and yet here they are as a new artist. So very, very strong, although they don't have a very fresh new release out there. I think they're nominated on the strength of a great big hit they had.
This category can be very controversial, can it, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really hard to predict on what's the criteria here. I mean, you could say that about a lot of categories, but what's the criteria for Best New Artist? And I think, judging from that, shouldn't have Justin Bieber have won last year? He was nominated, and he was a huge force to be reckoned with, and yet a semi-obscure jazz bassist named Esperanza Spalding took the award last year. So, it's really hard to put your finger on how the voters vote for this category, but it's a nice cross-section of the genres that are represented that night.